Hello there. Now, if you follow any of the news or trends in the world of beverage, you probably know that we are in the midst of matcha spring, which I do hope leads us into matcha summer, which I also think is adjacent to brat summer. However, what if we rebranded matcha spring? What if we made it tea spring? I will try to come up with a better name. I am also taking suggestions. Regardless, today I have 3 teas beyond matcha and also 3 drinks to go with them. I am a firm believer in the 3-drink rule. I hope you are too. With that being said, let's make some beverages. Now, before we dive headfirst into our first drink, I want to give a huge thank you to Donna for sponsoring today's video. If you have been around this channel for any amount of time, you're probably pretty familiar with Donna. They do an incredible array of drink concentrates, so things like chai concentrates. They even have a lovely rose cardamom concentrate, but they also do fantastic loose leaf teas. So everything you're going to see today is from them, and additionally, they've been gracious enough to offer a code to all of you. So if you want to try any of these yourself, you can use the code MAY25 at drinkdonna.com to get 25% off your order. So let's make some drinks. Our first drink is an Assam iced tea with a banana cream top, and knowing me, bruleed bananas for garnish, of course. I'm using an Indian Amber Assam black tea from Donna with golden tips, which has a deep, mellow flavor throughout the tea. To brew it for our base, I'm using 2 tablespoons of tea and 8 ounces of hot water. After steeping for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm flash chilling it with another 8 ounces of cold water for our iced tea base. Y'all better be getting excited because we are about to make bruleed banana slices. So, 1 banana. Frankly, you might as well just make the whole banana. You will probably end up eating like 4 of these that don't even make it to your drink. The key here is you want your banana slices to be thick enough that you can put a cocktail skewer through them without them splitting apart. I prefer to pre-skewer before I brulee, if you will. I'm sorry, pre-skewer before I brulee it's a combination of words for sure. This is step 1. Now I've just got some granulated sugar here. I'm gonna pretty liberally coat these in sugar. Some of that sugar is immediately gonna be absorbed into the banana's moisture. We want a layer to be on top of that is still dry that we can actually caramelize on top. I'm using a kitchen torch. You should end up with something that looks kind of like this. Additionally, something to note, I am using a heavy whip substitute right now to make this non-dairy, just for the sake of my stomach. However, you can swap this out for heavy whip. If you can handle that, it'll be super tasty. Additionally, if you want to use one of the heavy whip substitutes that are coconut-based, that will also be ultra delicious here. Generous 2 ounces of your heavy cream or substitute. Now, for our banana element, we're actually going to be using a banana peel syrup. So I made this in a video a couple weeks ago. I'll link that down below, but this is super easy. It is 1 part by weight chopped banana peels, not the fruit, the peel, and then 1 part by weight sugar. You let the 2 macerate together for like 8 hours to like 12 hours, basically just overnight, and you end up with a really delicious and flavorful banana syrup. So 3/4 ounces of our banana syrup. And then into our foam, we're actually gonna grate just a little bit of fresh nutmeg. Get yourself a little handheld milk frother, and then we are just gonna cold froth this until it has doubled in size and has become nice and fluffy. We don't want it to be stiff, we just want it fluffy and movable. This should take like 15 to 30 seconds, depending on the power of your milk frother. That looks pretty good to me. Now I'm gonna put a nice large ice cube into our service cup. I'm gonna fill it mostly to the top with our tea. We're gonna leave about 3/4 of an inch of room on top for a foam. Now, the nice thing, if you do it in a milk pitcher, you can just like pour it in. However, to make sure we get like a really, really nice layer, I will use the back of a spoon. Slow and steady wins the race here. Looks pretty crispy, my friends. And this is the moment where you can add those nice caramelized bananas. And if you're like just a little freak for nutmeg like me, a little extra grated nutmeg. I am so happy right now. And then, of course, your garnish. I'm so happy. This is a great day. We still have 2 more drinks. Let's keep moving.
Our second drink is a green tea spritz that's delicate, refreshing, and delightfully effervescent. I'm using Donna's Supertwist green tea, which has been steamed and slow-dried to give it a lightly fruity and vegetal flavor. To brew our iced tea and maintain those lighter floral notes, I'm cold steeping using 2 tablespoons of tea to 16 ounces of room temperature water and letting it steep in the fridge overnight. After that, simply remove the tea leaves and you're good to go.
Okay, for this drink, I'm gonna give you 2 ways to do it, depending on what equipment you have. We, of course, have our cold brewed Supertwist green tea right here. You can make this drink with this chilled tea as is. You're just gonna pick up the steps here in a minute with me. However, this drink, if you have access to like a carbonator, is really, really tasty when you turn it into sort of like a little fizzy, like green tea soda. Now, word of warning, not all carbonation devices can do things other than water. This is something called the Breville InFizz. This can do teas that are free of particulate. That's what I'm using here today. If you have something like this or like a forced carbonation device, you can do this. If you're not supposed to put tea in your carbonator, don't do it. Thank you, InFizz. So this drink is pretty intentionally simple. You're gonna take a highball glass, and into the base, we're gonna add a little bit of honey syrup. This is about 1/2 ounce. I'm using 1/2 ounce of honey, and then to make it a little bit thinner and to mix with our tea, just a tiny bit of hot water just to loosen it up. Now we're gonna take a tiny bit of our tea, add it to the bottom, just to start getting our 2 different liquids homogenized. We're just gonna pile in like, I don't know, like a crap ton of ice. Gonna top it off with the rest of our tea. One last gentle stir. Don't wanna really disrupt that carbonation. Just wanna make sure that honey is mixed upwards as well. For garnish, give this like heavy bit of mint. We're also gonna express some lemon oil over the top. And that is a refreshing green tea spritz. It's so nice. Now, I've made this drink non-carbonated before. It's the exact same process. You're just not using a carbonated tea. It is super refreshing, but that carbonation just adds like this lovely fizzy, like almost mocktail style element to this drink. All right, speaking of mocktails, let's move on to an actual mocktail.
I don't always save my favorites for last, but I think I accidentally did that here. This is a mocktail or cocktail depending on your preference. It's citric, floral, and uses our tea in a very new way. Now for this one, I'm using Donna's Flirt, which is a blend of Egyptian hibiscus, mint from Afghanistan, and chamomile from Nepal. I'm turning it into a syrup by brewing it as a concentrate with 2 tablespoons of tea to 8 ounces of hot water. After steeping it for 5 minutes, I strain out the solids and add equal parts sugar by weight, stirring until it is melted. This syrup can be stored in the fridge for up to 2 weeks.
Okay, this last drink is gonna be the most cocktail-like. We are gonna be using a non-alcoholic gin. However, if you feel like replacing that with whatever you wish, don't let me stop you. Additionally, kind of the primary flavor element is gonna be our Flirt syrup, which again is primarily hibiscus, giving us this really, really beautiful, just like deep red color that we'll see in the final drink. So, we get to use a shaker finally. I don't really feel like I've filmed a full video unless I get to use a cocktail shaker at some point. This drink is gonna be super refreshing. We are going for a profile that is pretty orange and red in flavor. So think like maybe kind of tropical notes, but you're gonna get like a lot of botanicals and florals, both from the tea and then also from our non-alcoholic gin, which has a profile that is pretty herbaceous, like a lot of juniper, like all of that good stuff. So starting off in the smaller tin of our shaker, I'm gonna add 3, count them 3, Mandarin slices. Now we're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of our Flirt syrup. And then 1/2 ounce a lemon juice. Taking our muddler, we are going to break down those mandarin slices and incorporate everything together. Just make sure the skin is broken on everything. Let that juice release. Okay, again, I'm using an NA gin here just to add like a really nice like balancing kind of bitterness to all of this. Super herbaceous, you get kind of those callbacks to definitely a lot of juniper and then kind of orange and like spice, like almost cardamom-y flavor in this. This is gonna balance out a lot of the sweetness that we have in here, both from the syrup, but also the mandarin slices. You can swap this out to whatever like base spirit you wanna use. Or if you prefer not to use like an NA gin or anything like that at all, I would probably drop the syrup amount to about ½ ounce. 1.5 ounces. And then we shake. Oh, so nice and frothy. Now I'm gonna double strain this. I think this is very useful specifically because we have a ton of loose particulate and also orange skin still in this. Let's give us a nice smooth texture. Look at that color, everyone. I think that screams Teespring. And I still hate that name, by the way. Okay, now just to give us a little bit of pep and zing to this drink, I'm gonna top off with about 1 ounce or 2, whatever is left in your cup of club soda. And then a little Mandarin garnish. It's so yummy. Sometimes I'm just so tickled by what combining several liquids together can turn into. Super nice, super floral, really nice kind of like underlying orange flavor in this, but like the florals are front and center. The hibiscus is present, but weirdly enough, you get a good amount of the chamomile that comes out from that Flirt tea as well. Well, this has officially been my submission for Teespring, which I need help. I need help workshopping that. I feel like I poured all my creativity into these and I had nothing left for what we were actually gonna call them. Regardless, I wanna give another huge thank you to Donna for sponsoring today's video. Again, I will link it all in the description, but if you go and you want to try some of these teas I showed here today, you can use the code MAY25 to get 25% off. As usual, my name is Morgan. You can find me here on YouTube once a week, plus Instagram or TikTok almost every single day. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of this. I hope you all have a good day. I'll see you next time.